Hello learners, this is Excel with Habeeba. We are learning the topic Sociological Foundation of Education under that subtopic Constraints on Social Change in India. Let's begin. Before understanding about the topic in deep, let's understand what is constraints on social change. Constraint means a limitation or restriction on what? About modification in the society. That means a limitation of restriction which is there in the society, that is in the process of modification. That is, constraints means a limitation or restriction. Social is pertaining to society. Change is alter or modification. Now let's see what are all those constraints here. Number one, caste. Second, ethnicity, class, language, religion and regionalism. Let's understand one by one in detail. Sociologists have conducted a number of studies based on caste. Now let us study one of the most common class model. That is, first let's understand caste, any class or group of people who inherit exclusive privileges or are perceived as socially distinct. Now let's go about the caste model. The main features of caste model are number one, this model is based on the ideas expressed by certain sections of society and not on the observed or recorded behavior of people. Secondly, it attaches universal significance to caste as it has been conceived in the classical texts. Nextly, third one, the entire system is being governed by explicitly formulated principles. Thirdly, it is assumed that different castes, which are the basic units in the system, are fulfilling their contemporary functions. So the historicity of Indian society has been the hallmark of caste model. Now let's understand the definition given by S.V. Ketkar, that in the year 1909 mentions hereditary membership and endogamy as the most striking feature of the caste system in India. So many sociologists observed the caste system is functional for society. Now what are the contemporary trends in caste system? Let's understand here. The disorganization of the caste system leads some to infer that in the future the caste system will cease to exist. Many scholars have dissolved this doubt. According to G.S. Gure, there is no sign of extinction of the caste system in the near future due to the following reasons. What are the reasons? Number one, election. That means due to the establishment of a democracy in India, the administrative machinery is operated by representatives elected by the people. So, the method of election has done much to encourage the caste system because the candidates want to achieve their end by drumming the cause of casteism among the voters. This is how people are asked to vote for their caste candidate, and this casteism is maintained by the elected leaders of the elections are over. So political parties also sponsor only that candidate for election in a particular area whose caste population is the highest in that area. Secondly, protection of backward classes. So, the Constitution of India has provided for the protection of the backward and scheduled castes. Some posts are reserved for them in government services. Some seats are also reserved in legislative assemblies for backward classes. They are given all types of facilities and special scholarships for education. All such special rights have encouraged casteism very much in the backward caste, since the caste is providing very beneficial to them because of these prerogatives. Now, state of class consciousness in India, we have to understand. On one hand, caste is being weaker due to the influence of factors like industrialization, urbanization, technology enhancement, better transportation and means of communication, popularly of English education, political and social awakening, democratic government and laws abolishing untouchability and so on. But on the other hand, new organizations such as labor unions on the basis of occupation, post, capacity, etc. are being established. Due to an increase in the desire for money caused by the influence of Western education, the sense of superiority or inferiority is now based on wealth and social power rather than on caste. Nowadays, the class consciousness based on occupation, etc. is replacing the caste consciousness. So, casteism transformed into classism and also becoming weaker due to influence factors. What are those factors? Just now I have discussed occupation, industrialization, Western education, etc. And also cannot be eliminated. Why? It is not an easy task to predict the future of the caste system. It is certainly true that the restriction on marriage, diet, lifestyle and so on based on the caste system are breaking down. Casteism is increasing and caste system is being encouraged by methods of election and the government protection. Just now we understood protection of backward classes for political motives. For people who are specially gifted in a particular occupation, other occupations are very limited in India and the paths to those that are available are closed. Children of those parents who have a small income or who have no wealth look out only for service. In reality, in India, casteism is being transformed into classism. Now, the roots of caste system go deep in Hindu society and at its base are the important and beneficial principles of division of labor, specialization, etc. Foreign invaders made their best efforts to wipe out the Hindu caste. In spite of all efforts of Muslims and Christians, not much has changed in the caste system. It has definitely been affected somewhat by the influence of Western education and Western culture, and its form has undergone a vast change. Now let's understand recent changes in caste system here. Number one, occupational mobility. That means there has been a decline in the supremacy of Brahmins. The Brahmins who used to occupy topmost position in the stratification system of India are no longer considered so. So, modern occupation and urbanization has led to increased occupational mobility among other castes, which has enhanced the status of castes lower than the Brahmins in the hierarchy. In the present day context, the Weberian notion of one's class position gains ascendancy over one's caste position. Now, secondly, monetization of economy. Earlier, the Jajmani system has also weakened the economic context of inter-caste relations, which is termed as Jajmani system, has lost its significance. So, the monetization of economy and expansion of market system in rural areas had served impact on the economic conditions of various castes. Now, thirdly, the enforcement of the Special Marriage Act of 1954 the second important change is the position of caste due to the process third one is Sanskritization. Let's understand about it. The second important change is the position of caste due to the process like Sanskritization. That is, initially it was observed that caste system had a rigid structure which strictly prohibited social mobility, but with occupational interdependence on opening of greater avenues for employment, the lower caste had an opportunity to pursue an occupation according to their choice. This led to fluidity in the caste structure and considered positional changes were observed. Sanskritization is basically adopting the traditional other methods, not leaving, we can say, because of the need, they adopt the new system. For example, the tribal people, if they want to achieve something great in the other geographical area, they adopt the system of that place. So Sanskritization also is very important. That is the recent change in the caste system. Nextly, protective discrimination policy. That is, the protective discrimination policy of the government further led to the enhancement of status of many of the subjugated caste. Such as policies also led to the improvement in socio-economic conditions of various castes. Nextly, Special Marriage Act. That means the enforcement of the Special Marriage Act of 1954 further brought about many changes in improving the marital alliance among the castes. Nextly, Untouchability Offence Act 1956. That is the notion of this enforcement also helped here. Act 1940 was an important milestone in this direction. Untouchability is considered a punishable offence, and a person found practicing it is severely punished, either in terms of being fined or sentenced to imprisonment. Nextly, Industrialization. With industrialization, new occupational structures have developed in urban areas. Then these new occupations are caste-free occupations. Nextly, technological breakthrough. That is, the contemporary society is undergoing massive transformation due to technological breakthrough, and it is witnessing many cultural changes. A new class of lower caste urban youth, whom some scholars have termed as the breakthrough generation, are playing a significant role in the bringing about a sea change by breaking the boundaries that had kept the Shudras in conditions of extreme poverty. This new generation of educated Shudras also positioning themselves for modern urban jobs. Thus, the caste system has undergone many changes in the recent years. Now, let's understand the next constraint, that is class. Now, what is a class? A system of ordering society whereby people are divided into sets based on perceived social or economic status, that is called class. Now, a class in Marxian sense, let's understand here. That is, now first point he says, that is conflict. That means conflicts over the distribution of economic rewards between various classes. Secondly, easy communication between the individuals in the same class position so that the ideas and action programs are readily disseminated. Thirdly, growth of class consciousness is the sense that the members of the class have a feeling of solidarity and understanding of their historical role. Fourthly, profound dissatisfaction of lower class over its inability to control the economic structure of which it feels itself to be the exploited victim. Lastly, establishment of a political organization resulting from economic structure, historical situation, and maturation of class consciousness. Now, according to Marx here, a social class, according to him, is that which occupies a fixed place in the process of production. Marx distinguished three classes here related to the three sources of income. Number one, salaried workers, that is owners of simple labor power. Third, capitalists, that is owners of capital, that is money. Then land owners, whose respective sources of income are wages, profit, and ground rent. Now, the agrarian class structure in post-independent India, let's understand here. They are landowners, tenants, laborers, non-agriculturists. Now, alternative agrarian class structure according to D. and Dhanagare, an Indian sociologist, has suggested an alternative agrarian class structure which has the following 5 classes. Number 1, landlords, rich peasants, middle peasants, poor peasants, and then lastly land laborers. Then apart from the traditional agrarian class structure, modern rural India also has a non-agrarian class structure. It can broadly be classified as number 1, political functionaries and government officials, second, civil work contractors, third, village teachers and doctors, fourth, priests and astrologers, last, fifth one, NGO workers. That means these are the non-agrarian class structure suggested by modern sociologists here. Nextly, modern class structure in urban India. Let's understand here. Number 1, political personalities like ministers, members of parliament, etc., and civil servants. Secondly, technocrats, that means software engineers, chief executive officers, etc., and then professionals, they are doctors, lawyers, sportsmen, media persons, etc., and industrialists or entrepreneurs. Thirdly, educationists and academicians. Fourth, people in the organized sector other than the above categories such as servicemen, traders, etc. Lastly, the fifth one, people in the unorganized sector like hawkers, daily laborers, etc. Now let's understand the relation between caste and class here. Caste and class are polar opposites as understood by the Western scholars and in particular by the British administrators and ethnographers. They observed that caste and class are different from form of social stratification. The units ranked in the class system are individuals, and those ranked in the caste system are groups. According to this view, change is taking place from caste to class, that is hierarchy to stratification, closed to open, and from an organic to segmentary system. Such a distinction between caste and class is more a heuristic nature. Now let's understand the third constraint on social change, that is ethnicity. This is the Greek term ethnos, that means cultural or spiritual sense of belongingness, we can say. Now, ethnicity refers to the identification of a group based on a perceived cultural distinctiveness that makes the group into a people. That is, this distinctiveness is believed to be expressed in language, music, values, art, styles, literature, family life, religion, rituals, food, naming, public life, and material culture, etc. This definition has been taken from Encyclopedia Britannica. Now let's understand in deep about the ethnicity here. The terms ethnicity, about the meaning we understood now, let's understand terms related to this ethnicity. Formation of ethnic groups, that is ethnic groups are those groups that are composed of a distinctive and collective identity based on shared experience and cultural traits. Now for the formation of an ethnic identity, a combination of factors such as common descent and socially relevant cultural or physical characteristics and set of attitudes and behavior patterns is necessary. So common descent, however, is the most significant factor. Apart from this, cultural attributes such as religion, language, customs, social beliefs and practices also play an important role. So the members of an ethnic group must also share ideas, behavior patterns, feelings and meanings. Moreover, they should also perceive that they share a common destiny, and also here we should understand Islamic movement in India, Tamil nationalism in Sri Lanka, Bangla nationalism in United Pakistan, etc. represent, for example, the formation of ethnic groups for attaining a common goal. Secondly, ethno-nationalism. Ethno-nationalism transcends the boundaries of state, religion, sect and class. It seeks to fragment established nationalities and communities and create new ones using ethnic indicators. That is, the symbolic and cultural aspects of ethnicity are important in themselves and often get politicized for the promotion of collective interests. In India, you can easily find a number of such cases, such as undue pressure on the center of Tamil politicians to intervene in Sri Lankan ethnic disputes, emotional and financial support by Tamil Nadu for the Elam, and in Sri Lanka, Pakistani's president intervention on the issues of minority, showcasing itself a defender of Muslim minority in India, protest march against India in Pakistan on the name of atrocities on Muslims in India, etc. These obsessions for own ethnic groups not only generate international discord within neighboring states but also ignite hostility within state boundaries. Then ethnicity in India, let's understand here. As the representatives and the inheritors of the European Enlightenment, the British brought the idea of ethno-nationalism to India. It is in fact one of the ironies of British history that the British became political liberals at home, and at the same time, as they became imperialists abroad, British policy in India was forever haunted by the contradictions. While the British would not grant India full self-government until 1947, they were often concerned about being fair to different competition sections which in their view made up Indian society. They had identified sections of Indian society on the basis of religion and caste. A census made the population of Bombay in the year 1780, for instance, divided the population into socio-religious communities. In the 18th century, British amateur historians often portrayed India a society weakened by its internal religious and caste divisions. In later years, this perception was also shared by Indian nationalists themselves. Now, here, if we try to interrelate the present day Indian politics with that of the British politics, we do not find much difference. Every politician of the Indian state is calculating his arithmetic on the religious lines and caste combination. Developmental plank has taken a back seat and ethnic issues have become prominent. For example, the Mandal politics of 1990s and the demand for reservation for OBCs were based on caste calculations made by the British in 1931, sidelining Brahmins from Tamil politics and openly advocating for the removal of the castes from Tamil Nadu is another glaring example of ethnic cleavage in Indian politics. Now, approaches to ethno-nationalism. There are two main approaches to understand the new ethnic phenomenon. The first is primordial approach to ethnic identities and ethnicity, which considers descent as the more important factor. This is because predominant loyalties can be activated more easily than rational principles and organizations founded upon them. The second approach is known as situational subjectivist or instrumental approach. According to this, According to this approach, what actually matters is people's definition of themselves as culturally and physically different from others. Their shared descent, according to Cohen, is secondary and, if required, may be manipulated and manufactured. Thus, ethnicity is flexible, adaptable, and capable of taking different meanings depending on the situation and perception of advantage. These contending approaches are an aid to the explication of issues and to the understanding of contemporary reality. Now, sources of conflict. There have been numerous attempts to explain the causes of the ethnic wars. One theory focuses on the role of mass passion or ancient hatred in driving ethnic violence. A second theory suggests that inter-ethnic security dilemmas are necessary for ethnic war to result. In other words, the fear of ethnic groups that their interests are threatened may cause them to fiercely protect their interests. A third approach blames ethnic war on manipulation by belligerent leaders. However, scholars agree that all the three factors, hostile masses, belligerent leaders, and inter-ethnic security dilemmas, are essential for an ethnic war to result. In fact, these factors are mutually reinforcing here. It is important to note that any ethno-national conflict cannot be attributed to a single cause. Rather, there is a combination of factors which are responsible for rise of ethno-national conflicts. These can be ethnically defined grievances, demographic threats, then histories of ethnic domination, etc. Almost all these factors are present in India's severe ethnic movements, such as the movement in Jammu and Kashmir at the time of partition, demand for greater Nagaland, Assam agitation, and so on. Over the years, numerous ethnic movements have confronted with India's multicultural democracy. India thus provides a laboratory for the study of such movements. Next one is migration factor is also the cause of ethno-national conflict. Then economic factor, economic conditions, perhaps the most important source of ethno-national conflict. Uneven development of the regions of a state and the economic discrimination perpetuated by the state itself are two main economic factors for occurrence of ethno-national conflicts. Then complexes of the ethnic minorities. That is, in a multi-ethnic state, the ethnic minorities suffer from a fear complex. Under this fear, by the smaller ethnic groups, consider the dominant or the largest ethnic group as ruler. Then language. From old French language, let's understand the next constraint on social change, that is language. From old French language based on Latin, lingua, that means tongue, a system of communication used by a particular country or community. Unique qualities of human language, let's understand here. Number one, productivity. Second, recursivity. Third, displacement. Human language is also unique because it depends almost entirely on social convention and learning. Therefore, its complex structure offers a very wide range of possible expressions and uses than any known animal communication system. It is said that language was born when early hominids started to slowly change their ways of communication and developed the ability to form a theory of others' thoughts and shared intentions. Now let's understand here information communicated in many ways. What are those ways? Phone calls, fax messages, emails, letters, websites, instant message softwares, and social networking websites. Now let's understand the linguistic diversity, the Indian language families. What are the Indian language families here? Indo-European, Indo-Aryan, Indo-Iranian, Dravidian, Ongan languages. Now let's understand in detail about religion. Now what is religion here? A collection of cultural systems, belief systems, and world views that relate humanity to spirituality and sometimes to moral values. Now many religions have narratives, symbols, traditions, and sacred histories that are intended to give meaning to life or to explain the origin of life or the universe. Now, there are two terms here in this religion. One is secularism. Secondly, secularization. Secularism is the separation of religion from civil affairs and the state. What is secularization? That occurs when religious values and beliefs are reoccupied with non-religious values and beliefs. That means secularism, there will never give importance to one religion. All religions are equal. There is no state religion here. That is secularism, which our country has taken the main objective here, or we can say the main aim also. Now let's understand religion in secular society. Firstly, first point we should understand, that is explain what are the functions we have to understand. Religion played and continues to play a key role in the affairs of man and society because of its explanatory function, that is explains why, what, etc. relating to the mysterious, that means unknown things, unknown facts. Then integrative function, that is provides support aimed uncertainty and consolation aimed failure and frustration. Thirdly, identity function, that is provides a basis of maintenance of transcendental relationship for security and identity. Then validating function provides moral justification and powerful sanctions to all basic institutions. Then control function holds in check divergent forms of deviance. Then expressive function provides for satisfaction of painful drives. Then prophetic function, that is expressed in protest against established conditions. Then maturation function providing recognition to critical turns in an individual's life history through rite de passage. Lastly, wishful fulfillment function, that is covering both latent and manifest wishes. Now last term, which is the constraint on social change, that is regionalism, which is also known as communalism, a strong feeling of pride or loyalty that people in a region have for that region, often including a desire to govern themselves. Now formation here, India is the largest country in the Indian subcontinent, deriving its name from the river Indus, which flows through the northwestern part of the country. Indian mainland extends in the tropical and subtropical zones from latitude 8 degree 4 north to 37 degree 6 north, and from longitude 68 degree 7 east to 97 degree 25 east, the southernmost point in Indian territory, the Indira Point, formerly called Pygmalion Point, is situated at 6 degree 30 north in the Nicobar Islands. So, the country thus lies wholly in the northern and eastern hemisphere. The northernmost point of India lies in the state of Jammu and Kashmir, and it's known as Indira colonial India stretches here. We need not go in deep about the areas here. Now let's understand Article 3 of the constitution, what does it says regarding this formation of new states and alternation of boundaries? Let's understand here. Parliament may be law. Number 1, form a new state by separation of territory from any state, or by uniting 2 or more states or parts of states, or by uniting any territory to a part of any state. Secondly, increase the area of any state. Thirdly, diminish the area of any state. Fourth, alter the boundaries of any state. Fifth, alter the name of any state. Then only formation of new states and alteration is of boundaries possible according to this law. Now, regionalism in India. Regionalism in multiple dimension phenomena in terms of its following components: geographical, historical, cultural, economic, political, administrative, and then psychic. Let's understand a little bit about these points here. Geographical component, the factor of geographical boundaries to which the people of an area usually relate their quest of a regional identity, also differentiate at least in degree if not in kind. The phenomenon of minority nationalist movements from regionalism. The point of differentiation is that also we can understand, that is geographical component. Then historical cultural components, that is constitute the bedrock of the phenomenon of regionalism in India. The several components in this category are not only important individually but also in conjunction with each other. This is also true of the other groups which have more than one component, that is history, caste and religion, language, and also these are all the but common language is no bar to intrastate regionalism. The very fact that language helps a group or to forego an emotional identity also tends to make it highly inflammable. Next, that is economic component. Is the crux of regionalism. It is common knowledge that India is underdeveloped economically in spite of the many achievements registered since independence. The resources are scarce and demand disproportionately heavy and ever growing on account of continued population explosion. Now, next one is politico-administrative, that is the political component of regionalism is also important. Politicians in their not only always so enlightened self-interest exploit situation of regional deprivation and unrest and convert them into movements to forego strengthen their individual and factional support bases. So, regionalism always thrives on real or fancied charges of political discrimination, which has in fact become an important facet of politics of regionalism itself. Now, lastly, psychic component. Regionalism in India as elsewhere is a psychic phenomenon, and in the ultimate analysis its roots lie in the minds of men. Each individual by and large carries a split personality. He is in the part regionalistic and in part nationalistic. So, there is always a natural tendency towards the primary of the regionalistic over the nationalistic, though one does not usually pose the two as either or situation. Thus, it should not be surprising if emotional overtones get easily attached to regionalism, which in turn can be traced to its cultural moorings and economic roots. The fact that the pattern of socialization more often tend to be more parochial than national also contribute to psychic component. Now, let's understand the types of regionalism here and we will conclude the topic. Firstly, suprastate, that is suprastate regionalism. This is built around and is an expression of group identity of several states which join hands to take common stand on an issue of mutual interest. Vice versa, another group of states or even the union, more the former than the later, the group identity thus forged is usually negative in character. It is usually against some other group identity. It is also issue specific in the sense that it is confined to certain matter on which the group would like to take a common and joint stand. It is not only all a case of a total and permanent merger of state identities in the group identity. In fact, rivalries, tensions and even conflicts continue to take place at times even simultaneously with group postures. Secondly, interstate regionalism. This is conterminous with the state boundaries and involves the juxtaposition of one or more states' identities against another on specific issues which threaten their interests. Then intra-state regionalism. This embodies the quest of a part within a state for self-identity and self-development in positive terms, and negatively speaking reflects of a part in the relation to other parts of the same state. So these are the types of regionalism. So we come to the end of this class. If you like, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. I will come up with the next video, next class in the next video. Until then, happy learning. Thanks for your attention and time.